I think going all digital can work only if there's digital infrastructure for a marketplace, secondhand marketplace, like a free open marketplace of games. And I'll caveat this: contract and usage rights cannot be retroactive, only proactive. If I buy a game from PlayStation's marketplace, and let's say it's GTA 6, and I buy it now, GTA 6 cannot remove my right. PlayStation cannot remove my right to play it. And if Grand Theft Auto and the developers want to take it off PlayStation's market, they can. But it cannot impact the previous people who have purchased it. They should have access to it no matter what. And then there should be a free market online where people can buy and sell their digital versions without any recourse or without any scalping or cream of the crop taken off.
Sony has officially announced that they are going to be killing off physical games, with Xbox also not officially doing it, but basically doing things that say, let me tell you I'm killing physical games, without actually saying that I'm killing physical games. So Sony has said that by 2028, in January, there will be no longer physical games in any of the stores. They will not be producing any. So everything will be digital from that point. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bed Tech Show. We are your hosts, Ben and Ethan. We've got an exciting episode for you tonight. A lot of tech news, a lot of things going on in the world. Pretty wild the last couple of weeks. So sorry we missed everyone last week, but here we are, and we're going to dive in with a couple of things. Ben, what do you want to talk about first?
All right. Yes, a lot to talk about. I'll just kind of do like high-level overview of some things we might touch on. Maybe we add a couple more things in there. But a lot's happening. So we've got legal with tech. We got legal issues with tech. We'll dive into that. Some lawsuits, class action lawsuits. One in particular that we want to talk about. We have gaming news, whether it's releases or digital versus physical discs or pricing or whatever it might be. A lot of stuff happening around gaming. And then we have AI. Obviously, AI is kind of going nuts. New models coming out that can do crazy things, different programs, different apps. So we can dive into that. So we're going to start off with some of the juicy tea around big tech and the lawsuits they're having. So we're going to talk about Samsung and this class action lawsuit that they have. Ethan, since you are the expert in the legal realm, I'll let you kind of take it away here.
All right. So you all may have noticed that the price of RAM is absurd lately, and it has risen about 700% over the last 4 years. And it has outperformed your 401k and any other investments that you have. So investing in RAM was probably the better option than anything else. There are 17 plaintiffs who have gone to federal court and are creating a class action lawsuit against three companies: Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. And they are alleging that these companies are controlling 90% of the world's DRAM, and alleging that they are fixing the prices of our consumer RAM and other RAM, which is why it has gone up so much. So this isn't the first time that this type of legal action has happened to Samsung. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, these companies were fixing prices before, and the DOJ didn't really like this. Samsung ended up having to pay $300 million in fines, and executives did go to prison. So Micron was also involved with this. They walked away clean with that, because they were the ones that shared the news and snitched on Samsung. Turn the time now to where we are at.
Today.
The big thing is AI. It's kind of like the differentiator between the what we're in now and the last case. And
Hmm.
so AI uses a lot of high bandwidth memory, the stuff that Nvidia buys in really big margins. They buy a lot of it. And these companies, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, cut the consumer RAM, such as DDR3 and DDR4, that that we usually put in our PCs. And so they cut the supply of that to really focus on this high bandwidth memory. And taking a look at the facts a little bit more, they had the reason that they did this was because of the better margins that they could potentially get with this AI memory. And Micron even cut their consumer RAM division of their company to say that they're not going to be making consumer RAM anymore and just focusing on high bandwidth memory RAM.
Wow.
So, one of the, as this is going to unfold, it's really going to be kind of to determine whether this is an evil conspiracy or if it's just brutal but legal. But there will need to be evidence enough to show that these companies are colluding together to make this price increase for our consumer RAM. In any event, RAM is still bloody expensive. And unfortunately, it's only going to be getting higher because there have been a lot of contracts that have been extended with these companies to the companies that they're supplying that have kept these prices at absurd amounts for the next 4 years into 2030. So this Ramageddon apocalypse is not going away anytime soon, and RAM is still going to be expensive. What are your
Dang.
thoughts, Ben?
I'm curious how they're going to prove collusion, but I do think it is, if it is true, I do think that's ridiculous and very frustrating. We're seeing the price of everything on a hardware side go up, but it's primarily the chips that we're seeing. Graphics cards, chips, memory. It's all because of the demand of AI. And so I think for Samsung to try and take advantage of that, like of that demand and say, and then artificially create even more scarcity. One, smart business move to an extent, but two, illegal if they actually are colluding with two other suppliers about it. So if it's happened in the past, might be happening again. Maybe trying to pull a fast one. I really hope that something something happens in terms of punishment if they actually did collude. I think it's kind of nuts though.
Yeah,
Like
it's going to
why
be
knock
real.
us? Like why kick us while we're down? You know, as
I
consumers.
know. It's going to be really interesting to see if, like, within these companies, if anything was really written down in communications between any of them. Because what I suspect, and my theory is that you kind of think of it as like th- gas stations that are all
Dude,
in the
I
same
thought the
area.
exact same thing. How do gas stations always have the same pricing?
Yeah.
Like,
So one gas station, they raise their prices. The other gas stations, they take a look at it. Oh, we'll raise it to the same, or a little bit higher, or just a little bit lower.
yeah, 1 cent higher, 1 cent lower.
Yeah, same thing. So I'm kind of thinking that's what happened here. One company saw, hey, they're cutting they're cutting lower speed RAM in favor of this high bandwidth memory. Let's do the same. Let's cut our production so prices can raise, and we'll profit from that in the end.
Yeah, that might be the case. I am curious to know like the players though in the space. I feel like in that specific, okay, let's say you're on like corporate strategy, pricing strategy for Samsung, okay? And you're one of the big players in that space for Samsung. You're a director, you're a VP, someone with position of power to make decisions, right? Maybe you're C-suite level. most of the time, maybe not most, a lot of times, people who are in a VP, director, C suite level of a niche industry and position, those two combined. Okay. So, microchip technology or RAM technology or computer hardware technology pricing strategy. Those two are pretty niche. Combine those two, that's a small world in the corporate world. Okay. People know each other, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know who your VP is at your competition. You know the director at your competition. Like, you know these people. You probably worked at previous companies together. You, especially if it's like bigger companies. You've probably recommended each other or met each other at conferences or gotten together at, luncheons and dinners and like all these different meetings. It happens all the time. I see it. I'm in the accounting finance space, and I see, I'm in the on the consulting side, advisory side, and I see like, oh, Joe Schmo used to work at this company. It was a pharmaceutical company, so he's accounting, finance, pharmaceuticals. He jumps to another accounting, finance, pharmaceuticals, and then he refers his buddy who he used to work with at this company A to company C for accounting, finance, pharmaceuticals. That's how it is, dude. So I would not be surprised if there is a connection between the players here. It's just a matter of like how substantial is the evidence. But maybe they don't know each other. Maybe there's no connection, and maybe it's like the gas station theory, which is, oh, we'll just price competitively to what's out in the market.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this goes down, and if there is conviction of strategic price manipulation or whatever they get convicted of. I want to know what the punishment will be. I will be very frustrated if they are convicted and there's like a very light slap on the wrist. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Samsung, by the way, highest profitable company in the last quarter. Okay. Maybe because of this or partly because of this. I'd be frustrated if they're like, oh, you pay us like $20 million. Like, $20 million? Get the freak out of here, dude. Like, no, add another zero or two. Like, freak, bro.
Or 8.
Yeah, probably eight, actually. Let's be honest. Like, has to be at least another three zeros.
Yeah.
But I think I get frustrated when companies get caught for doing crap like this and they don't care because they're just like, you're going to punish me with a like chump change? Like, that's
Yeah.
pennies for me. And so they don't learn a lesson. There's no lesson to be learned. There's no actual punishment, right?
Right.
That's like my
Yeah.
kids doing something super bad, and I'm like, all right, you don't have screens for a minute. They're like, oh, okay, oh, whatever. You know, it's we were talking about this last week. It's like Max Verstappen when he commits a penalty in F1 and he continues to drive so fast in first place that he gets a huge gap. And they're like, hey, the stewards have, put a 5-second penalty. He's like, yeah, sure. Send them my regards. Thanks.
Regardless.
Appreciate it. I've won the race now because of it. Like, it's just frustrating to me.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll see how
I
it goes
agree
down.
with you. There needs to be a substantial if there is finding here, there needs to be substantial punishment in a way
sure.
that they actually feel harm. So
Yeah.
I will be interested to see what it is. Let us know what you all think. Let us know if you think that there is harm, or are these companies just brutal but doing something legal? Let us know what you think. Speaking of something that's brutal, we are coming to the end of an era of physical games. Sony has officially announced that they are going to be killing off physical games, with Xbox also not officially doing it, but basically doing things that say, let me tell you I'm killing physical games without actually saying that I'm killing physical games. So Sony has said that by 2028, in January, there will be no longer physical games in any of the stores. They will not be producing any. So everything will be digital from that point. Sony has alleged that the majority of the games purchased through are purchased digitally anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. However, with how much backlash they've gotten, I think they are overestimating those numbers and making it sound in their favor rather than the actual data. So it's going to be interesting. I At this point, GameStop is pretty much cooked because I mean, having physical games is really what they do, and without that, I mean, they'll have some retro retro things that they could sell, and they're Funko Pops, but other than that, that's that's about it. They'll just have the Hello Kitty. So
Yeah.
it's really it's sad that this is kind of an end of an era. I mean, we've kind of seen it going. I mean, a lot of like Xbox and PlayStation have their digital only type of consoles that they sell. So it was inevitable, but now it's actually coming to fruition. What do you think, Ben? Do you agree with this new trend of digital only games where you own nothing and like it? Or
I yeah.
do you like physical games?
Um, I'm hit or miss on this. I'm like, I guess I'm hot and cold because I understand why, from a business perspective, you'd want to do it. Well, there's multiple reasons from a business perspective. I understand and agree with one of them, which is production cost. I totally get that. You want to reduce your production costs. You want to reduce your materials. You want to reduce supply chain. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of moving parts there, and so I get that. The piece from a business perspective that I don't like, which I think has a huge backlash from the gaming community, is ownership. And from a digital standpoint, we don't own the game. We pay for the rights to use it, assuming that the provider still has rights to the game or entertainment, whatever it is. And an example of this is when PlayStation removed videos and movies from PSN after people had already purchased the movies. And so the people purchased the digital version of these movies, and then PlayStation removed them because their rights holder contract expired. And so the users no longer have access to this film, even though they paid for it. They paid to own it, but they don't own it. So there's this huge backlash where that's going to become gaming. And at the end of the day, we're having more and more things go digital. And as a result, we're owning less and less. And I mean, we're not buying physical movies anymore. Everyone's streaming. We're not buying physical shows. We're not buying, I mean, we're transitioning from physical hardware. We're still having hardware come out, but like it's getting more expensive, and there's a big push for streaming directly. And so we're starting to lose the ownership of a lot of things. And I think that's where it gets really sketchy because you've seen companies just pull the plug whenever they feel like it. And as long as it benefits them from a profitability standpoint, they don't care. At the end of the day, they need profit, and that's it. And so that's where I have a hard time with digital only. I personally don't really own physical. I mean, I think for some of my games, like my Nintendo Switch, I have physical, just because it's easier. It's I know that's weird to say, but it's easier than digital from like a memory standpoint. I don't have to buy large micro SD cards for memory on my Nintendo Switch, so I buy physical. But there's also the point of like physical, you can trade, you can give, you can lend, you can share, you can pass down to your kids, you can use it at like, you know, a different location, right? Take Netflix streaming, for example. Like if I wanted my brother to stream Netflix and watch Stranger Things, he couldn't because it's password sharing and I can't
Right.
do that. But if I had the physical disc copy, I could give my brother the Stranger Things physical disc copy and he watches it, right? Yeah, so I don't buy physical games, but I don't like this move. I think it's inevitable, but I don't like it. And I think it's going to happen no matter what, which
Yeah.
sucks. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I agree too. I unfortunately am the systemic reason of why we are in a digital only world now and going to this because I only buy digital games. I like the convenience, but the fact that really it's just a license and you don't actually own the game itself is very jarring to me.
Yeah.
And when Sony has recently just pulled those movies from their network and without giving any of their users any like recourse or anything like that, it's kind of the same with what games are. It provides this form of total control for Sony and Xbox and really anyone to be able to do anything that they want for any reason at any time. And so I don't like that total control factor.
Yeah.
I I love the ability of being. I think the secondhand market for games is a great market. It's a way to get really good games at a reasonable price,
Hmm.
and people that really rely on that now they're going to be forced to buy digital games at full price, and they may not be in a position where they can afford those games at full price. And so cutting out that secondhand market from those people, I think, is removing the accessibility of gaming. It's no longer a a hobby. It's more becoming a something really expensive that people aren't able to do anymore.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point, like the second hand market for video games. And it makes me think, I think going all digital can work only if there's digital infrastructure for a marketplace, secondhand marketplace, like a free open marketplace of games. And I'll caveat this: contract and usage rights cannot be retroactive, only proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, um, if I buy a game from PlayStation's marketplace, and let's say it's GTA 6, and I buy it now, GTA 6 cannot remove my right. PlayStation cannot remove my right to play it. And if Grand Theft Auto and the developers want to take it off PlayStation's market, they can, but it cannot impact the previous people who have purchased it. They should have access to it no matter what. And then there should be a free market online where people can buy and sell their digital versions without any recourse or without any scalping or cream of the crop taken off, like or like a piece taken off from the developer. Like I should be able to sell you my digital version, and because I bought it in 2026, it's safe from Grand Theft Auto of taking it off the market and taking it away from you. Take everything you can do physically and apply it digitally. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. They're totally changing game ownership by going digital, and I don't like that. I would support it if they copied the exact structure we have from a physical world into a digital world, but that's
Yeah,
not the case.
I I agree. I would love that. I think what Xbox is doing to mitigate this, having their disc to digital feature that they're going to be rolling out in the future, I think that's a good move. It allows owners to have a digital asset for their physical games. So I think that's a good mitigation when Xbox is also going through some negative PR themselves with a bunch of layoffs of all of their studios and coming out with the CEO saying that their business is not in a good place right now. So
It's not. It's
yeah,
not.
so
Did you?
go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the CEO basically said that they're operating at a 3% profit margin, I believe, this year, and so it's been really rough. And Game Pass has not been as good as they were initially planning. They were hoping to have a lot more users, with only having about I think 30 million users was
Yeah.
what their what they're reporting at now. And so it's definitely not the value that they were hoping to have brought in. And so all of their, what Phil Spencer had done, like really shifting toward this Game Pass, hasn't really paid out as much as they were hoping. So now Xbox is in kind of a dangerous place with their business. And
Yeah.
being on the precipice of coming out with a new generation of hardware, being able to keep that at an affordable price with our market and what's going on, it's going to be really tough for them to make a profit off of that and keep it affordable. I don't know how they're going to be able to balance that.
I agree. I agree. I think just kind of diving into the numbers there, I saw that the Xbox Game Pass, first time that it has generated $5 billion in annual revenue, but that's still significantly short from what they were expecting. 30 million subscribers, like you said, but their expectations were 77 million, bro. And they have 30 million.
That's
Like
less than half.
less than half, exactly. Exactly. So major restructurings and job cuts. Um, yeah, it's kind of wild. Uh, Obviously didn't cut the price enough of Xbox Game Pass to make it appetizing and for their subscribers to acquire new subscribers. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't feel like they need to come out with a new console. I don't think it makes any sense right now. I personally think that all developers and hardware should be delayed. I think with the AI situation and the price of hardware going up significantly, and the economy right now, and also just the fact that like the tech of this Xbox Series X is totally fine. It's so good still. I don't think I need something new. And so I don't understand why they're trying to push for a release in the next year or two. I think they should honestly wait at least 3 years, maybe even five.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we've kind of seen evidence of why you should wait and delay your hardware with the Steam machine. I mean, that coming out at an underpowered type of hardware performance at a very premium price.
Yeah.
So, and with that, I mean, it makes sense with why it is so much, given the economics of what we're in right now. But it's it it would not be in Sony's or Xbox's favor to do the same when we've had consoles that have had to actually go up in price, which we've never seen in the history of consumer hardware ever.
Insane. Insane stuff, dude. Insane. It's
So,
wild.
yeah, I think the only things that have actually come down in price a little bit are CPU chips. Those are those are marginally cheaper than they were a few years ago. Marginally.
Yay.
So
Yeah, that's nuts.
you can get your 1/8 of a computer.
For cheaper than what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty gnarly stuff. Um, so I'm curious what will happen there. Mm, we'll see. But I think there's a lot of big tech companies that are trying to figure out this AI situation. And maybe we try kind of, well, I don't know. We can kind of go into two directions here. We can talk about Xbox and Halo Combat Evolved coming out, or we can kind of go on this AI train and kind of dive into Apple, their standoff with EU, and even maybe talk about Meta.
Ooh,
Um,
let's go that route. Let's go the AI route.
okay, cool. So yeah, like I said, I think with Microsoft trying to figure out how to deal with pricing with AI, we're seeing a lot of companies on the AI front make huge developments, which is causing this issue with hardware. So first off, Anthropic Claude came out with Fable 5. That was shut down by the government. It's now back online. So if you want to develop an app with a 2 sentence prompt, you can. It's pretty wild. I am excited to play with it, but it can get expensive. That's the only thing with token burn. I guess if you're paying the subscription, you just have to pay for the like top tier subscription, so you don't have to worry about token burn. But anyway, also Meta, they bought out a company called Gizmo that was developing an app, and now Meta calls this app called Pocket. It's AI powered vibe coding game creator. So you can essentially do what I just described in Fable 5. You can create small interactive apps and games using text prompts. So just like multi sentence prompt, and you have a game, you know. Pretty gnarly stuff there. And so we're just seeing the development of AI go faster and faster to the point where you can pretty much, if you're willing to pay the money for the right subscription or the amount of tokens, you can pretty much create anything you want as soon as you want. And it's kind of crazy. What are your thoughts on this? Because we talked about gaming, hardware going up in pricing because of the demand of AI and AI's influence on our day-to-day life. What are your thoughts on its impact of how we go from gaming to daily life to leveraging AI in our daily life? Do you think we'll just create our own games? I mean, what are your thoughts here on
Ooh,
progression?
that'll be interesting. I mean, I think that opens the doors for more creativity for people that may not have the skills or the knowledge of how to do that. It gives them the opportunity to express what they what they kind of have in their mind, and give them some more tools to bring those expressions into a medium that people can enjoy. So I love that ability. I love that it makes this type of thing a little bit more accessible for me, who is not as creative as I wish I was. It allows me to be a little more creative and get an idea further along than what I would be able to do on my own. What I don't love is all these advances to AI and everything that it can do. It's still AI still does not know how many R's are in strawberry. So I mean, yeah, all this money that we're pouring into it, all like how we've stemmed from how much components cost, how data centers that are being built up, oceans that we are draining to cool these data centers all throughout the world, everything that's going on because of this, and it still can't do simple tasks that a normal human could, is
Yeah.
baffling to me. And
Yeah.
and I don't like that. It kind of seems like we should build the foundation a little bit more rather than trying to reach for the stars.
Yeah. Rather than trying to stretch forward. Yeah.
Yeah. But then if we didn't try to continue to innovate, we wouldn't be at where we're at. We wouldn't have these tools to be able to get us to what we need. So I don't know. I think there just needs to be a little bit more balanced. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think people just like to innovate and stretch themselves. And I think sometimes innovation can get obsessive, and like pushing the limits and seeing what you can do gets obsessive. And I think that's where like geniuses start to border the line of insanity, right? Because they're just like so obsessed with pushing the limits and seeing what's possible and pushing, pushing, pushing. And where is, if we continue to push AI, where, where's the line where like benefit turns into, um, I want to choose the right word here. Benefit turns into disadvantage. And I wouldn't necessarily say like pain or a liability, but The idea is AI is to help humanity. But when does it progress to the point where it starts to be a disadvantage or hurts humanity? So maybe it is pain, but like people get fired from jobs because of AI. Is that really beneficial for humanity? Eh, So then maybe it goes back to the question like, are we creating AI for the benefit of humanity? Or sounds like maybe it's getting to the point of like benefit of companies and
Yeah.
profitability.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking of a great movie quote. You either die a hero or you live long enough to become see yourself become the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of seems like we're getting to that point where AI is like, we're trying to make it be the hero to be a benefit for humanity, but it's becoming it's becoming the villain in this arc.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, the more the development happens, I think in general, the more I see people complain about AI and saying how they don't want it. But with that said, I will say there is like a camp of people that I know who um who are receptive to adopting and leveraging and using AI. And those people are like, dude, it's amazing. It helps me so much. And I think a lot of people who are in the camp of like, I don't want AI, I don't like AI, probably just aren't using it in a way that they probably should. Um,
Right.
I think if everyone were to jump in and leverage AI to like use it for the right reasons, I think it could remain a hero. Like going back to your analogy or the movie quote. But I can definitely we're starting to see corporate greed take over
Mm-hmm.
and leverage it and be a disadvantage for society and humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, let us let us know what you all think. Which camp are you in? Are you in the camp that leverages it for your benefit or wants nothing to do with it? Or are you the type of person that tries to get other people to use it when they are talking about problems that they have? I know that's how I am at work. Everyone's like talking about problems that they're doing. I'm like, I'll just get AI to do that. Do all the trivial stuff that you don't want to do at work. Have AI
Yeah.
do that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think like what what are we going to develop to? Like what are we going to progress to? What are the steps? Um yeah, I don't know, man. It's just is it's a weird stage right now. I think we're trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my wife earlier today. I asked her, would there ever be a point in your life where she would be comfortable having a humanoid robot in our house? And she thought about this for a moment, and she's like, I don't know. If it ends up being like how iRobot was, I don't want that in our house. And I was thinking, I don't know that there's any 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 situation or alternate reality where I feel like I'd be comfortable enough to have one in my house. Mostly because I don't want that interacting with my children
Yeah.
and having that in there. Um, and then we got talking about how, okay, if that was even going to happen in our lifetime. And I kind of think that iRobot, having that many robots, will happen in our lifetime,
Hmm.
mostly because of what Elon said that in his lifetime, that there's going to be a point where people forget that Tesla ever made cars.
Yeah, I agree. I think in 10 years, with how fast things are progressing, I wouldn't be surprised if we see humanoids, robots in households regularly, casually in like the next 10, 15 years. Um, and so I think it'll happen sooner than we think.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen models, production models of it, beyond Tesla. You know,
Hmm.
there's production models in it. We're seeing robots be introduced to society and entertainment more and more. Like at least weekly, if not daily, there's like some kind of robot video on my feed in
Yeah.
social media. You know,
And I mean,
so
we already have voice assistants in our homes, so they already have our interaction data to begin with. So,
yeah,
I mean, from that to an actual robot, it's not too far off.
yep, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I don't think I would either though, because I think the dangers and the risks are too great. You know,
Hmm.
I don't want it interacting or like touching my kids, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like I I barely allow other people to come into our home, let alone a robot that I have real no control over.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So interesting stuff though. Um, Pretty wild to think about what's going to happen, but we'll see it play out.
Yeah. The problem is it's going to be an expensive future.
Yeah, jeez.
But you know what doesn't cost you anything? Giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. That's always free. It is free 99. Um, if you didn't like it, you know, that other button seems to work all right as well. Make sure you send this video to somebody you dislike. As always, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.